everybody, to another episode of the Passive Income Lifestyle Series. I'm your host, Travis Watts, the Director of Investor Education here at Ashcroft Capital. Got a really exciting episode for you today. What we're talking about is the art of free housing and how to cut your living costs. Disclaimers as always, never financial advice. I'm not telling you or anyone what to do. I'm not a licensed financial advisor, CPA, or attorney. So please always seek licensed advice when it comes to your own investing. And with that top of mind, I want to start by saying that for most Americans, the largest expense is housing. In fact, according to a recent survey by Self.Inc., the data shows that a monthly payment on a 30-year mortgage costs 36.2% of the median household income in the United States, an increase of 23.8% at the end of 2021, and the highest share of income spent on mortgage payments since 2007, right before the Great Recession. So in this episode, I figured I would share with you the 4 strategies that I've used since 2009 to drastically decrease living costs, and in some cases to even get paid to live in my own house. So my goal is to share these strategies in hopes that one of these may resonate with you or add value to somebody that you know. So feel free to share this episode with anybody in your network who you think could potentially benefit. Without further ado, let's dive into strategy number 1, the house hack. This is what I initially started with in 2009. What I did is I bought a distressed property, moved into it as a full-time owner-occupant, and then I rented out a furnished spare bedroom to a full-time college student. My mortgage was about $641 per month, and the rent that I collected from my roommate was $600 per month. So effectively, I was able to reduce my living expenses by over 90%. Now, understandably, not everybody wants to have a roommate, or you may not be in a situation because of being older or having kids or having pets where you don't want to deal with sharing your home. And I totally get that. So the second strategy is something I used several years after 2009. And what I effectively did is I bought a single family home, and it had a completely separate outdoor entrance and exit. So essentially what we did is we converted a single family home into basically a duplex, but instead of side-by-side units, it was up and down. So we took the basement, fully furnished it, and we rented it out on VRBO and Airbnb. So strategy number 2 is the short-term rental. If you're able to buy a duplex or convert your home into 2 separate living quarters or more, if you can convert maybe a detached garage into a little studio or 1-bedroom apartment, if you can build a guest house maybe in your backyard, or if you can buy a pre-existing house that has a guest house already on it, these are all great ways to generate additional income. At this stage in my investing journey, the mortgage payment that I had on this particular home was about $1,800 per month, and my rental income was about $2,500 per month. So effectively, I was getting paid about $700 per month to live in my own house. And that brings us to strategy number 3, the value add. This is a strategy that by far has been the most profitable strategy that I've used over the last 15 years or so. And I've done this on nearly every single home that I've owned, with the exception of one. And what this involves is buying a fixer-upper property that is priced below the market comps, moving into it as an owner-occupant, and then having the flexibility to fix up the property and then selling with the market comps at a later time. And there's a few things I really like about this strategy. Number 1, no tenants, no roommates, no rental management component attached. Number 2, you don't have to be in a big rush to flip the house because you have at least 2 years or greater. And I'll explain that in just a second. And number 3, you actually get to enjoy the renovated home while you live in it, something you can't do with a fix and flip. So it's serving 2 purposes. You're providing shelter and a place to live for yourself, and this is also an investment attached. And number 4, you can potentially have a tax-free sale. Section 121 of the IRS tax code states that if you meet certain conditions, you may be able to exclude the first $250,000 of gain from the sale of your home from your income and avoid paying taxes on it. The exclusion is increased to $500,000 for a married couple that's filing jointly. Now, please always seek licensed tax advice. Again, I'm not a CPA. I'm just pointing out that Section 121 might be something to research, learn about, and look into. Now, let me share a real example with you. For those joining on YouTube, you'll see these visuals. And for those on audio, I'll do my best to articulate this strategy for you. But this right here is a home that I bought in Colorado in 2013. It was bank owned. I paid $185,000 for it. And I lived in this home for 2 years. I fixed it up during that process. I sold it in 2015 for $275,000. Completely covering my housing costs for those 2 years and making a sizable profit on top of that. And today, by the way, at least according to Zillow, this home is valued around $535,000. That's pretty crazy. And strategy number 4 is to rent and invest. We found ourselves, my wife and I, in a situation several years ago where we wanted to live downtown Denver in a high rise. And the condos, and this was, mind you, luxury condos, but they were very, very small, were selling for around $800,000 to $1 million. So what we did, and by the way, it was hard to add value to these because they were already nicer and newer, and we couldn't really have a roommate, nor did we want to have a roommate at this time in such a small space. So what we did is we took the proceeds and profits and return of down payment from the last home that we sold. This was about $300,000, and we invested it instead in multifamily apartment syndications or real estate private placements. So the cash flow that was generated off that investment was around $24,000 per year. And what we were able to do is find a nice but small luxury apartment. I think it was 17 floors up, downtown Denver, beautiful views over the city, $2,000 per month. So essentially our investments, $24,000 per year, were paying for our rent. So depending on the market you live in, depending on the time of the market, depending on interest rates, it might make sense in some cases to consider renting instead of owning. Now, listen, I want to take a step back here for a minute because I never want to be the guy that's painting the picture to be too good to be true or too rosy. And the fact is that there's risk in all types of investing, including all 4 strategies that I've described here. I mean, you've got the risk that your tenants or your renters aren't going to pay rent, or that they might move out unexpectedly. They might damage your property. You've got natural disaster risk. You've got political risk. You have renovation and budget risk. So please always do proper due diligence before deciding to do any of these strategies or make any type of investment. But with all of that said, I hope I was able to at least add some value to you in this short episode. Again, if you think anybody in your network, friends, family, colleagues, acquaintances could benefit from these types of strategies or one of them, please feel free to share this episode with them. And in conclusion, something to think about here for the week. What if you could drastically reduce your living costs or eliminate them for the rest of your life? You're listening to the Passive Income Lifestyle Series. I'm your host, Travis Watts. If you ever have questions, want to take a deeper dive, or learn how we do value-add renovations on multifamily apartment buildings here at Ashcroft Capital, reach out, travis@ashcroftcapital.com. To learn about current offerings and opportunities, you can always visit avaf3.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great week. See you in the next episode.